That means the next opportunity to try is over here, which is 900 seconds away. So I will cut to that point. Okay, we're nearly in position for this burn. Right here where the orbits cross. And I finally remembered a mnemonic, a memory technique. South burns, when you burn south, you rotate your orbit clockwise. So burning north will rotate it counterclockwise and get our orbit, which is this line, matched up with the space dock orbit, which is this one. You can see they're actually fairly close, 1.895 degrees apart. And we're just about there. And it should not take a whole lot of a burn. Okay. Very close, very close. And beginning to burn. Inclination coming down. Orbit lines matching up. Okay, minus 0.001 according to the numbers. The appearances don't seem to match up. Way, way, way off again. Okay, you know what? Turn that thing off. Get it out of there. It's not helping. Instead, there's the space dock. Here's us. I'm going to orbit us around until we approach. According to this, our relative inclination is below 1. The graphic that is being drawn doesn't look quite nearly so optimistic, but perhaps it will be easier to tell as we make a closer approach. So, it's time to do a lot of orbiting. This will take several hours of mission time. And now here we are, some 12.5 hours, 13.5 hours of mission time just about. And we are now closing to just about 50 kilometers away from our target ship, which, there it is right there. And so, begin turning prograde and get ready to raise our orbit fairly soon to match, to have our apoapsis match that of the space dock. And we can start closing in and actually get this rendezvous done. All right, we're down to 48 kilometers, and I believe it's about 35 or so that I need to be at before I do the burn. Or 35 kilometers distance is when I need to do the burn, excuse me. get my stuff together here eventually. All right, looks like we're getting close to being in position. The ship is wobbling around back and forth. I can't give it any RCS to help it out because I got careless and forgot to turn it off and let the thing run it out. Using the physics time warp to close the distance. While the steering pilot keeps us pointed in the right direction. Now down to 40 kilometers. Bill Kerman seems to be rather upset, and I suppose he has reason. Okay, we're at 38, 37 something. Let's go back to normal time and begin a nice, easy burn. Bring the apoapsis to 102. Because that matches that of our target right now, our target's current altitude. Let's have a look at the orbit and see how we're doing here. We're still catching up with them. And curve around here. And it looks to me like right here we're going to be almost on top of the thing. So, let's go back to ship view. There's our target. Let's go ahead and time warp ahead a little bit. All right, we'll physics time warp. Now 30 kilometers. And that's when the range indicator shows up is right at 30 kilometers, or 0.1 below it, or something like that. Calm down, Bill. You're not going to get stranded this time. 25 kilometers. Closing very nicely. And yes, I do believe that our closest approach is going to be right about there, and it's going to be well within delivery range. And we're not trying anything fancy this time. We're just getting to within 10 kilometers so that we can deliver the cargo. 13 kilometers. 12. We are now within delivery range. And so we will deliver the cargo. That part is taken care of. And now, when we stage, this should be jettisoned. And if I, let's see, do that. Okay, what's going on here? Let's turn that off. In fact, let's turn to retrograde. And if we can get any thrust out of this engine, this thing didn't seem to want to disconnect. In fact, the parachute is deployed. And I would use RCS to do some braking, but we don't have any. What in tarnation's going on here? I should have disconnected. The cargo module is gone, of course. All of our cargo is gone. We are at max thrust setting and nothing is happening. Okay, I have to review that last video clip to see if I can spot what happened. Okay, I just reviewed the footage and I did everything right. I staged this and this part should have disconnected, and then this engine should have become active and allowed me to be able to start generating thrust with it for a re-entry. I'm not exactly sure what's going on here, but obviously something is bugged, because activating this stage, in addition to separating anything connected below it, should have activated this engine, which at the time was placed in the same stage on this stack as that separator, as that decoupler. And therefore, this ship should already be on its way into a re-entry, and Bill Kerman should be nice and calm. Whereas right now, he's crapping all over the capsule. And I don't blame him, because it looks very bad for him. However, because something is obviously seriously screwed up, that engine should have fired. There's no reason it shouldn't have. So therefore, I'm not going to play around or play games with this. I'm merely going to end the flight. Because it should have worked. All right, now let's just exit the VAB. Have a look at the tracking station, and we'll have a look at space dock to make sure our material got delivered. Switch to the space dock. And it looks like we have quite a bit of stuff in there. 10 tons of stuff did get delivered. And assorted other things are already there, and so on. So, all right. Return to the Space Center. Switch to the VAB. And I can show you what I'm talking about. Right here. This decoupler right there. It's right there. When that decoupler fires, this engine should fire. It didn't. And this is unacceptable, to say the very least. I'll grant you, I should have another decoupler here. To allow the capsule to separate. into its own thing so that the parachute doesn't have to try to carry all the rest of this stuff down. But still, it should have functioned as it was. This engine should have fired up as soon as this decoupler broke. But instead of decoupling, it just moved both of them up here into this stage. That has got to be some kind of a bug. Anyway, in the meantime, we have successfully delivered cargo to the space station and lived to tell about it without needing rescue missions. What I'm going to do now, off camera, because it's going to be time consuming, is I'm going to fly several more of these cargo delivery missions, including the idea of perhaps trying to debug this ship a little bit and see what the heck is wrong and why it didn't seem to cooperate. And we're going to get a bunch of material up to that space dock and get ready to do some building. In the meanwhile, thanks for watching. Thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't. The thumbs up really does help an awful lot, so I appreciate you taking 1 second to do that. Take it easy. I'm out of here.